Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Mallory. I am currently a senior at Tarleton State University, and today I would like to talk to you about Tim Cook's leadership style. For those of you who don't know, Tim Cook is the current CEO of Apple, and he took over the company after the passing of Steve Jobs in 2011. When it comes to this assignment, I spent quite a bit of time trying to think of a leader that has been through difficult challenges and how they would overcome those challenges. All successful leaders have experience with low performance and recovery, but I felt that Tim Cook has proven that Apple is in good hands over the years since he took the helm. Since he has taken over the company, Apple has become the most valuable company in the world with a market capitalization of over $750 billion. Cook was working for Compaq when he was first approached by Steve Jobs to join the company. He had a background as an industrial engineer. And when he was propositioned to join the company during the rough period in 1998, against the judgment of those closest to him, he left his job as the vice president of corporate materials and joined the team tasked with steering Apple back into the right direction. Cook was very much an analytical employee and made sure that whatever Steve Jobs requested or whatever task he had them on, he did his best to make that a reality. And consistently, he made that a reality. Anybody who has read up on Steve Jobs knows that he was extremely driven, and the same could be said for Tim Cook, though the way he approaches problems is very different from Steve Jobs. Cook has never had a problem with telling someone in a higher position that he has disagreed with them, or that he believed they were in the wrong if the situation would arise. When it comes to his leadership style, Cook believes in fostering the culture that has already developed within the Apple organization. And during several press events through the past couple of years, several other executives and leaders within the company are put in the spotlight as well. He states that hardworking individuals and strong focus are necessary to foster great innovation, and that anyone who wishes to be successful needs to break the rules. There will be tremendous growth in an organization if you do those things. He would much rather have an employee who calls him in the middle of the night with a good idea rather than have them wait until a later date to present it or till the right moment, something like that. He encourages out-of-the-box thinking and not so typical behavior. I would consider Tim Cook to fall into the transformational leadership style based on his belief in fostering the culture that has already been put in place, all while taking the company in a direction of his own. Transformational leaders help organizations and make positive changes in the way they conduct their activities. Cook has helped Apple to discover new direction and paved his own path to success within the company. After the passing of Steve Jobs, many were concerned that Apple would no longer be the innovative behemoth that it already was, and that the company would struggle under the leadership of Tim Cook. That simply has not been the case. Since he's taken over the company, as I was telling you earlier, it's the most valuable company in the world, and he's truly come into his own as a leader and truly made Apple his company. He comes from an operational background, and because of that, he relies on his executives more so than Jobs ever did, and he acts more as a guide or a coach to these individuals. This has helped to build a great level of rapport with his staff pretty early on. They knew that trying to get in their way was just going to hinder productivity. So he kind of just steps aside, lets them do their own thing, and he's there for guidance if they need him. This helped them to realize that he's not trying to be Steve Jobs, and they respected that they would let him, or that he would let them, rather, handle the situation without getting in their way. During the first months of his leadership, his first plan of action was to restore peace and order among his shareholders and employees. It was a hectic time, so the first thing was definitely get everybody back on track. He started by paying out quarterly dividends. He also promoted a loyal and extremely popular employee at Apple to the senior vice president position. And he would regularly make visits to the cafeteria during lunchtime to visit with the staff and get to know them better and help build that rapport all the better. He worked diligently to build up that genuine rapport with the company in order to move forward effectively and successfully. Cook promotes diversity of leadership. The success of a company will greatly be impacted by diversity of employees' experiences, and he knew that. He also looks for honesty and transparency among his employees, and that helps to cultivate a genuine creative culture. He has stated that transparency would be the only way the company would be able to move forward, and so he opened up operations for the world to see, which has helped lead to a strong sense of goodwill with his employees, and it has actually helped to establish a new industry standards for some other organizations. With the success of Apple, Cook focuses on what they do best and really improving on those products rather than just always trying to become the next groundbreaking product. This is a very different approach from what the company has done in the past, and so far it has been paying off. Traditionally, Apple is known for putting out 2 or 3 products, streamlining them, and then kind of just making something new that's groundbreaking. So since Cook has taken over, he has diversified the products that are already in place and offered new products to help kind of break into markets that they haven't been in the past, such as Apple TV, advances in the music industry, virtual reality, and the acquisition of the company Beats. The notable benefit of these new ventures is that Apple has spent little to nothing to expand and diversify their business. It's also worth mentioning that Apple has recently partnered with IBM to create a line of business product software, which can be used on all their Apple products. In terms of engineering and finances, Cook has taken a far more balanced approach than in Apple's past. As a result, their stock now yields a closely 1.7% annually. In addition, he has brought back nearly $200 billion in shares, and he has put a considerable amount of resources into the company's research and development. In 2016, the R&D department had the highest budget in the company's history. I do believe that Cook could also fall into the charismatic leadership style due to his ability to inspire trust and goodwill, not only with those he works with and those who work for him, but among other organizations as well. Charismatic leaders have a loyal following, and they would be willing to take chances with their leader and give it their all. This can be seen in Apple today. The company seems to be really unified and on board with the direction that Cook has taken the company, and I believe that Cook does show characteristics of a masterful communicator. He is communicating his vision in a straightforward approach and has meaningful impact on his employees. Cook is an extremely private person, which does give him a great deal of control over public perception of him. Management of impressions is another key characteristic of a charismatic leader. Not necessarily think that was his intention, but it does definitely lean in his favor that really we only know about Tim Cook from what Tim Cook wants us to know about Tim Cook. So to me, that speaks more into the charismatic leadership style. But back to Tim Cook's transformational leadership, there has been a significant change for everyone working at Apple, but they seem to be well received, and it is extremely successful business since he took over the company. They were faced with a great tragedy, a lot of adversity. Not a lot of companies lose someone as big and as loud as Steve Jobs was, or someone who just constantly is breaking new barriers and breaking new ground. And they built on that success that they've already had, and all while having a new leader with a totally different style. And he also respected the culture that was already in place, not making them forced to completely change everything they've already done. Being a transformational leader, Cook exerts a higher level of influence and strives to motivate people to go above and beyond. Tim Cook has proven that regardless of previous leadership styles, you can be successful if you approach problems as yourself rather than trying to replicate the success of others. You can't go into something pretending to be someone you're not, because one, you're not going to be effective at that, and two, I don't think people would respect you as much if you're not yourself and taking ownership of your own business. That's not what a leadership would do. With the success of Apple, it's currently experiencing in the midst of our ever-changing economy and marketplace. It will be interesting to see how they will adapt under Cook's leadership in the coming years. But that is my take on Tim Cook's leadership style. Thank you.